So as we've said throughout the course of this presentation, Microsoft is nothing if not a developer company. Let's take a look at some of their offerings. Microsoft has always been a developer tools company. AI is no exception. And what's interesting is Microsoft has always used this concept called personas, that is to say, descriptions of target users to understand how to focus the development of their products. And in this case, Microsoft has really focused on three personas: the citizen developer, the low-code or no-code developer, who uses a tool called Copilot Studio and may use a set of models, pre-built models called AI Builder. The solution or professional developer, category I fall under, use a tool called AI Foundry with a set of associated AI services, and data scientists who use Azure ML Studio. Let's take a look at each of those, starting with Copilot Studio. Now here we are in Copilot Studio, which, as we said before, is targeted at the citizen developer, the non-professional, non-coding developer. Now, by way of background, Copilot Studio has been through a little bit of an evolution. It came originally from Power Virtual Agents, which allowed us to create structured conversations like bots, and then changed into a tool which could help you build your own Copilot. And now it seems to be about building your own agents, as things that can do things on your behalf. And interestingly, it has its own Copilot-like interface. I can actually describe with everyday words what my agent should do. So let's say I would like you to design a customer service agent. And it will go through a whole process of understanding first what a customer service agent actually is. It will do some work over here and give me an explanation, and then I can go and configure it. Now, as we mentioned, the positioning of Copilot Studio appears to be evolving. There's also a set of pre-built libraries called AI Builder, and it's originally targeted at Power Apps and Power Automate suite of applications. Doesn't appear to be quite reconciled yet with Copilot Studio, but it's likely. Now, before we get into the tools for professional developers, let's think about what do professional developers need from their tool set. And the first thing is they customize models, right? We talked about RAG in the beginning of the presentation. It uses external data like SharePoint or SAP or your own applications to augment the model. This is what Copilot uses. You as a developer can use it too. And this is most useful for rapidly changing data, like a newsfeed. We're constantly updating the data. The external data gets frequent updates. For example, directions on Microsoft Chatbot. And if you're asking, gee, are we working on directions on Microsoft Chatbot? I'll simply say, that's an interesting idea. There's another approach, which is called fine-tuning. And in fine-tuning, you actually adjust the weights of the LLM, the model, at runtime. This is not something you do every day. It's a more complex task. In this case, the LLM actually reaches out during inferencing to a private set of weights that you create and adjusts its responses accordingly. And it's useful for slowly changing data, like legal precedents, for example, historical data, and so on. So let's take a look at AI Foundry. And this is the primary tool for professional developers building AI native applications. And it allows solution developers to build these RAGs or fine-tune LLM applications. It has a wonderful playground to allow developers like me to play with different LLMs, play with different system prompts, connect to enterprise data sets, see which ones deliver the best results, and then it allows me to actually push a button and deploy a simple application. And I've been very impressed with it because even though it's really quite new, it's actually quite well thought out. It's gone through a very rapid evolution, and it continues to receive pretty rapid and pretty substantial investment. Now I'm in Azure AI Foundry now, which allows professional developers like me to build AI-centric applications. And I'm very impressed, as I mentioned, with this application. Here is, we looked at this screenshot of this before. Here are the various models that are available to me. One of the things I like to go to is the playgrounds. And the playgrounds allow me to test things. So here I'm going to say I'm going to create a new system prompt. And instead of saying that, we're going to tell it what kind of assistant it wants to be. We'll say, we'll update this. So it's experience objective technology analyst, but you don't mind a bit of smart snark every now and then. But we're not done yet. Let's actually add some data. And I have some data available to me in a blob. And so I'll add that data. And now I actually have a RAG app. Tell me about Microsoft Priva, which is their privacy management service. Let's see what they say. And this is just a playground, so we're trying it out. And you'll see it gave me an answer of what Microsoft Priva is based on some data that I gave it. And you'll notice the little things down here is the little gizmos here. These are citations, and we can actually go to the citations. We've actually built a RAG app just like that. And all we have to do is go up here to the deploy, and we can actually deploy a real application. Pretty cool. That just touches the very tip of the iceberg that is ai.azure.com, that is to say the AI Foundry, but it's pretty cool. Having looked at that, there's a whole set of supporting services that developers can use in their applications, what's called applied AI services. You can use them in AI Foundry. You can use them for .NET programs. There's a whole list of them below. Speech recognition, language services, language detection. You can set it up to recognize PII, recognize specific objects, which can be useful for that application we saw at the very beginning of our model discussion for detecting defective factory parts, and so on. This is Azure ML Studio. I'm actually not a data scientist, so I'm not going to demo it to you. It's actually one of the oldest Microsoft AI tools. Dates back to, I believe, around 2014. And it can build traditional AI applications. What do we mean by that? Well, it's a playground where data scientists can experiment on data sets, large data sets. Canonical example is a healthcare data set with, say, 1 million rows in it, few thousand columns, and the data scientist wants to understand of all those columns, which ones or which combinations of them are most likely to predict a hospital readmission. And that takes just a lot of work to look at the model, to perform experiments and so forth. That's what AI Studio is targeted at. So in summary, Microsoft has carefully segmented their tools by persona. Some of them have some rough edges, but Microsoft is actively and heavily investing in them per their developer-centric heritage. So please expect them to smooth out over time. Now, there's a couple of bets here that you should be aware of. One is that I think the obvious one is that more and more developers use Microsoft's tools. Obviously, Azure consumption across the entire spectrum of services, from data to tools to models and so on, will increase, which will increase their revenue. And more subtly, more and more will follow Microsoft's path, Microsoft's paradigm, really, to the AI native future of applications.